Sound check. Sound check. Seems to be working now. For some reason the option had changed above. That's above, so below. Interesting. The option had changed above. No option changed below. So there's no comparison there. It's a thought it was a bad connection at first. And that would have been Zen in the art of computer interaction, perhaps. Though as there was no bad connection, it cannot be considered so therefore vlog considered as vlog. Take 3. I was wondering about the nature of vlogs, and wasn't it just a tool for offloading that which was running around one's mind? And I guess I've got my proof now, because what I said I cannot repeat, although I've always known that. I noticed I keep saying in it. I need to correct that. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to go unnecessarily. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to participate in hesitation by using the word in between my statements. I forgive myself that I have allowed myself to program myself with the word What I did notice, which is why I started to make the vlog, was I was considering something, perhaps inappropriately, in my mind, perhaps. Although where else could it have been being considered? And I do realise that to be in the moment and be able to deal with anything in the moment is the correct application, something I am effectively good at, though I have my concerns about my current application of self as life in breath. Could it be said in breath, because my breathing is not. Well, actually I am getting more aware of it. In fact, yeah, I am more aware of it. In something so simple, being aware of your own breath, so effective. Actually, being aware of my own breath, being aware of my own breathing. I've not yet reached the point where I'm aware of my own breath. I know that's likely to come later. What I did notice was I was considering something, and I reached a point where actually I was back-chatting myself, weren't I, obviously, because I reached a point where in the conversation I was back-chatting myself with, that I was having in my mind, I would have used a pre-programmed statement that I have relinquished, though I was reminded of it last night when watching a vlog I made last February. And so the realisation there was, vlogging is a very good tool for offloading pre-programmed statements, offloading that which one would back-chat oneself with, otherwise reaching considerations, reaching realisations. I've yet to do a vlog where I've done one or two where the vlog wasn't intended for that, where I converse with nothing because I'm making a vlog, and by the interaction with myself vlogging, I have been able to reach understandings that I could not have reached had I not been vlogging, because I was already aware of that, where I'd reached, and I've made videos mentioning this prior to this, considerations, conclusions. I'd reached conclusions, met someone I was able to converse with, put my conclusion forward, my understanding. I might have said realisation at the time, though it was nothing of the sort, as we will find out as I offload this again, interestingly enough. Is it incorrect to say I almost said the word there, though, stopped myself from doing it as a consequence of being aware that I had been saying irreverently, and through the self-forgiveness, because I don't fully understand self-forgiveness beyond knowing it's a wonderful tool, powerful, wonderful tool to utilise in one's deconstructive reprogramming. And I've distracted myself now with that statement. Totally interesting. I have a lot to consider, actually. Now, I forgive myself that I have allowed myself to consider the word after forgiving myself for utilising the word inconsequentially to my life, in fact. Forgive myself that I have allowed the word within me as me. Forgive myself as I have allowed myself to use words that indicate hesitation and therefore program me hesitantly. I forgive myself as I have accepted and allowed hesitation within me as me. Not sure what the opposite of hesitation is. Forgive myself that I have allowed and accepted my participation in hesitation, action, polarity within and out of myself. Forgive myself that I have allowed myself to make self-forgiveness statements that are confusing-ishly. Yeah, I'm still finding out, actually. I'm still realising, and in that I have made no real realisations. In fact, if I am still realising, that realisation is to be realised itself. I suppose one has to be careful about the way one, well, it's sort of reflective of my interactive nature currently, that perhaps it is. I find explaining anything to be rather complicated in the explaining of it to someone, and someone not aware of what I'm dealing with myself. I suppose at the end of the day, coherence is the aim completely. Coherent understanding of that which I am expounding, and the reducing of the words that I use to enable me to live effectively. Considering vlogs, I expounded that some seem to use vlogs as a campaigning tool. I'm not there with that, I'm not sure. I'm maybe going to do that with that, and I might be incorrect assuming that it is being used as a campaigning tool even. Perhaps. That word perhaps, I realised it was a very comforting word, perhaps, that added some excusability, perhaps, added some. I just found it a very comforting word in investigating it as a word, though it does have its uses, I am also finding. So I was watching a vlog last night of myself, and I used a pre-programmed statement. I was full of pre-programmed statements. My responses to people when, for instance, people would say, blah blah blah, I'm afraid, like people say I'm afraid, and at the end of the statements, and I'd say, don't be frightened, or there's no need to be afraid. I don't do that anymore. Not as a consequence of uploading it in a vlog, more from what was prior to me realising that I needed to remove my undignified, flippant, arrogant, sardonic wit from my application, as it is not best for all if we all walk around with sardonic wit, arrogantly, flippantly expounding our derision for life and its application in general. And that is not creating a world where all life can, will and does live with dignity equally, in fact. And so that is my current application, the removal of that program from my application. I forgive myself that I have allowed myself to quip sardonically in response to that which I encounter. Forgive myself that I have allowed and accepted flippancy within me as me. I forgive myself that I have allowed and accepted arrogance as a program, routine, association. Programs, routines, associations. Is this microphone still working? See, I uploaded, well, I've done 12 minutes again. I did 10, 11 minutes of vlog, offloaded. Couldn't remember any of it, mainly because all of it was pretty much inconsequential, just considerations that I was making and by vlogging had made them, and therefore offloaded them. Corrective application is self-forgiveness in effect. Anyone applying themselves correctly won't need to forgive themselves as such for it's another point that I need to consider one day. Thank you, Anthony, for pulling yourself together, though there would only have been you suffering as a consequence of not doing so. In fact, you do realise, I do.